Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GGRA30 Tutorial 3. If you have any questions, please send me email. This exercise is intended to introduce three basic components of the QGIS desktop. First, QGIS graphical user interface overview and use. Second, configuration of web map service to provide base maps. Third, QGIS print layout overview and use to create and print maps. These instructions have been written to match QGIS version 3.10. From the Start menu, find and start the QGIS desktop. We're going to look at its graphical user interface. QGIS GUI is divided into the following areas. First, its menu bar. Second, toolbars. This is browser panel. It's a list of data sources organized by type. And this is layers list. And this is map view. Last, it's a status bar. The default layout in some versions of QGIS uses a tabbed interface for switching between these and other panels to provide a more compact user interface. In this case, you may see only one or the other of the browser panel and layers list at any given time. You would then need to click on the appropriate tab shown at the bottom of the panels in Figure 2 to make the one you want to see and work with visible. Next, we are going to look at how to check web map server overview, print layout, and export your map. We will first save and reopen an empty QGIS project. From the menu, select Project, select Save As, and navigate to a folder in which you want to store your QGIS project, and click OK. Then go to Project, click Quit QGIS. Start QGIS desktop again, open the project saved earlier, select Project Open, and navigate to the folder you saved the project in to select it. We're going to make a straightforward map of the UTSC campus as a means to experiment with the QGIS GUI and the software interface for designing a page layout for a map. A web map service publishes map imagery online for use in a GIS. For this exercise, we will experiment with loading WMS layers. You may use any of the WMS listed in Table 1. But be warned that the OpenStreetMap WMS listed last is often the slowest to respond, especially if many students are trying to access it at the same time. To load an image from your WMS of choice, select the layer, Add WMS, WMTS. In the Layers tab, click on New. Enter the WMS name from the table at the name of the service in the connection details. Enter the WM URL from the table in the URL of the service connection details. Right-click on the link in Table 1 and copy it, then paste it into the QGIS connection details. After entering name and URL, click OK. Click on the Connect button. Ignore this warning. Then select the layer 0 for this tutorial. Click Add to add layers. You should be able to see the layers load into the layers list and map view. Use the checkbox to turn the visibility of the layer on or off. Right-click on the layer in the list and examine layer properties. In particular, notice that you can use this menu to remove a layer. We will make much more use of the layers list in next week's tutorial. You will now examine the map navigation toolbar. Use Zoom in and Zoom out to adjust the scale of your map to show Toronto and then UTSC. Use Pen Map to further position the map so it shows the UTSC Humanities Wing. You may find it useful to use the OpenStreetMap because it includes labels for the campus buildings, but remember it is the slowest of the listed WMS. Hover your cursor over the UTSC Humanities Wing. You can find its coordinates at bottom in the status bar. What is the scale of the map? You can also find it in the status bar. Next, we are going to learn how to print layout. The print layout is used to create and design your maps to be printed or saved as an image file. Open a new print layout template by selecting Project, New Print Layout. Then you can enter a title for your first map in the dialog, My First Map. Then you can press OK. The print layout interface includes buttons on the left beside the canvas to add map composer items, such as add a new picture to the layout, add a new legend, and you can also add a scale bar to your layout, north arrow, add shape, and arrow, and you could also add a new attribute table to your layout. Add a map to the print layout by clicking on Add Item, Add Map. Sketch a rectangular area on the canvas where you would like your map to be placed. You can look at the Item Properties tab to adjust the details of your items, such as the map and the legend. You can change the items' properties such as position. In the item properties for the map, you will see two buttons labeled Set to Map Canvas Extent and View Extent in Map Canvas. Click on these two buttons and see the difference between them. Do fine adjustments to the print layout to make the map show just a small area around the humanities building. You need to switch from the default cursor tool to the Move Item Content cursor tool. Clicking and dragging within the map will adjust the area shown by the map. You can also scroll in or out over the map to adjust the scale of the shown map. In the map's item properties, find the Scale text box. Adjust the scale by changing the map scale value. When the value changes, the areas in your layout map will also change. Now you can adjust your map to show the areas. Right-click on the page and select Page Properties. Set the page to be letter paper and landscape orientation. Click on the map once and then select the Item Properties tab. Under Position and Size, we're going to set the map's X and Y locations and the map's width and height. First, you have to make sure your scale is in inch. Set X, Y to 0.75 and width equals to 9.5 and height equals to 7. Check the box to add a frame to the map. Now we are going to add a title by clicking on Item, Add Label. Sketch a rectangular to place your label. Click on the label. In the label's item properties, you can enter the title of your map. It should be University of Toronto Scarborough campus. and you can change the font of your title. Check the boxes for frame and background to add a white background and a border. So by doing this, you can make the title clear. Add another label and type your name and student number into this one. As above for the title, you can change the properties of your label. Let's give the label a frame and a background. You can also change the font of the label. I will use Arial and 12. Add a new scale bar by clicking on Add Item, Add Scale Bar. Adjust the scale bar properties by highlighting Scale Bar on the upper right Items panel. Adjust the scale bar units to be meters with a multiplier of 1. I'm also going to change the segments of the scale bar and adjust the fixed width value to 50 units. I'm going to add a frame and background to the scale bar to make sure it can be read. Finally, click on Export as PDF to export your map as a PDF file. You can choose the folder to save the map and click on Save. Now you can open it with a PDF document viewer to verify that your map has been exported properly. That's all for today's tutorial. Thank you. If you have any questions, please send me an email.